What's up, you guys? This is the Authentic Empress. I'm thinking about one of my index cards that says, spend more time reading and less time. It says, spend more time reading and being creative or tapping into your creativity and less time scrolling, watching videos, watching TV, etc. Um, some of you guys, there are things that um, you are naturally and innately drawn to, attracted to, things that you want to do in life, to contribute to the community, to contribute to the environment, to have it be a part of your legacy that you leave. There are things that naturally and organically attracted your desire, your attention. And there's something about, the hurt, the pain, the conflict, the betrayals, the attempts to dysregulate your focus, dysregulate your nervous system, all of these things in an attempt to distract you from what really, really matters. And that's not to say that you having to be on your P's and Q's and be discerning and make sure you're always tapped into your spiritual gifts when it comes to dealing with others, when it comes to your family connections, your relational matters, your associates, your job, your career, your love life, your friendships, okay, your home life, your security, all of that, right? Yes, we are supposed to be diligent. We are supposed to be vigilant when it comes to protecting ourselves and honoring the guidance that God provides us and making sure we're in alignment, with our discernment. Okay. Um, but the thing about also just being conscious about being in harmony or quote unquote restoring, reestablishing harmony after there's been some sort of disharmony is to also make sure you redirect your focus away from fixating on too much on one thing or several things. You want to make sure you're mindful of balance, right? So if you're going to look into, okay, what's going on in my love life? What's going on, with my money? What's going on with this person being weird? That family member being weird, my inheritances that were stolen. You know, yes, you should be in a place of awareness. Okay, you should be open to receiving clarity in regards to those things. However, keep in mind that there's also this greater plan or goal, excuse me, to block your expression. And what I mean by your expression, that means your full soul's expression, meaning some of you guys are meant to be midwives, some of you guys are meant to be herbalists, some of you guys are meant to basically be a pillar in any avenue that is essential to our health, the health of other divine beings or just mankind or Mother Gaia, the environment, nature, right? Some of you guys are meant to get into like studying the elements, studying weather and stuff like that. These things that we see around us, like the news, these weather forecasters, and these people who are in position, who abuse their position to create distortion and confusion amongst the masses and stuff like that. There are those of us who are of God who, a part of our purpose is being put in these places to create order and balance, to create harmony, to restore harmony. So this video, is really straight to the point. This is just to remind you, hey, pick up that book. Hey, get back to whatever that is that you're creating. Okay, tap back into that project, that you've started, that is yet to be complete. Look into those things that are piquing your interest, that are interrelated or that correlate with certain gifts, talents, skills, abilities that you have, right? So yeah, again, heavy emphasis, like I said earlier in the video, how a heavy emphasis on your ancestors, guiding you to continue or restore a legacy that was potentially lost, right? So you may be being guided into looking into your bloodlines a little bit deeper. You know, for those of you who've already done that, you could have. You have to understand that they utilize betrayals, confusion, and distortion, and us needing to heal and recover from hurtful things. They use that to delay us from our higher purpose. They use these things to delay us from what we're here in this lifetime to do. So just keep that in mind. Always remember balance. Some of you guys are about to go into, some of you guys are about to step into a line of study or reignite something like with a wholesomeness, like a fullness, like a big burst of energy. And that's only because there was some type of delay, like due to some type of emotional disappointment, something that try to put you in survival mode, having to, you know, some of you guys who are into tarot, you know, you watch tarot readings and stuff, a good example would be a lot of these readings, though they're essential, though they're necessary, they're helpful on our paths. But a lot of these readings focus on, like, even a lot of my readings lately, they focus on the community in a way of what these people are doing to dysregulate us, what these people are doing to disturb us, disrupt our relationships, you know, our connections, our home life, you know, messing with our things, blah, 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 right? Now, I'm not just blowing that off like it doesn't matter yet. It matters. But again, don't allow that within itself to be a distraction. And it's crazy. I was doing fine until I started this video. And now I'm getting these attacks in my throat chakra. So, yeah. So don't forget to do your studies, your biblical studies, okay? Don't forget to keep studying everything that contribute to who you are meant to be and how you're meant to contribute and co-create on behalf of the Most High in this lifetime, right? So again, if that's health, if that's you rising or becoming more experienced, knowledgeable, when it comes to health and wellness, okay? When it comes to medicine, when it comes to environment, like, you know, environmental studies, oceanic studies, who knows, okay? The weather, I don't know, like, but all these things that are essential, okay? So filter out the bullshit, right? You have certain careers and jobs that are also fillers. And what I mean by that, they're intentionally placed there to confuse people, you know, and basically drain them of their power, so that whatever entity that they're feeding their energy and their power into, it basically just feeds that entity and that host, so that spiritual wickedness in high places and stuff like that can basically use that energy as fuel. Like, for example, the NFL, you know, certain sports and stuff like that. Like, for example, not saying that there isn't ways that we can alchemize all of this, because there is. You know, we really are armed, especially those in alignment with the divine. We truly are armed with the power and the ability and the intelligence to transmute any and everything. So, for example, going back to slavery times, how they would have certain, like, different kind of plantations or different kind of farms. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will have your slaves that pick cotton and shit, you know, pick rice. You have your breeding plantations where they will make slaves fuck each other and try to create the strongest humans. You know what I'm saying? They will have They will have systems where they will have slaves fight each other. You know, they will put men against men fighting each other. So how where do we see that, or how do we see that manifest in today's time and modern times? You get what I'm saying? And we see that in boxing. We see that in what is the one called that start with a U? Don't it start with a U? Anyway, any form of fighting competitions, okay, any form of competitive arenas that they've basically glamorized and placed a lot of glamour and glitz over, okay, to distort people's perception in regards to the truth of what it actually is or what's actually going on. Okay. So, for example, you know, there may be those of us who are really good at these sports, and, you know, you may be guided to step into these careers. And, like, for example, we know the NFL, you know, depending on who's in charge. We know the real intentions of what they use these people for. Let's say God puts you on the path, gets you in that arena, you become a coach, you become, I don't know, whatever, I don't know what their titles are. But let's say God uses you to put you in position where you get to, you know, shift or change the whole narrative, right? Yes, in essence, these, you know, these people, their energy are being used for other things by wicked or evil doers. But let's say you can create your own sports team, and you may use that as a means of teaching self actualization, you know, to the players or the group of individuals. You may use this, you know, to help them, to teach them like teamwork and how to be social creatures with one another. You may raise money for people coming to view the games and use that money for things, you know, that contribute to necessary growth. Okay, some type of healing, some type of aid, some type of harmony, restoration, right? So again, don't lose focus on what we're really here to do. I don't care if when you get into your studies, all of a sudden people want to talk louder that's in your environment. I don't care if they try to create some type of hostility or try to distract you. That's how you know that you're doing what you're supposed to do. Like, allow that to be confirmation that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You're studying, you're reading exactly what you're supposed to do. You feel me? Like, you're investing your energy accordingly the way that God intends for you to do, right? I'm going to briefly go over, so I want to say it's the parable of the sower, where the Lord, over these particular individuals, gave everybody a certain amount of, let's just say, currency. Okay, there was one who was given like one piece of gold. Others were given different amounts. Like, I can't remember verbatim, but like, one person was given 1 shekel of gold. Another one was given like maybe 5. Another one was given like 7. Another one was given 10. And they were told to go and multiply what they were given, and that the Lord will come back and basically see, you know, what have they done with their resources. And you had the one guy who only received 1 shekel of gold. You know, he allowed his insecurities and his ego and pride and all these type of things to distract him from what he was told to do, like what the purpose was, like the main goal, which was to go and, you know, sow so that you can reap. It wasn't a matter of you wasn't going to reap, you know, just because you only had this 1 shekel to start off with. It was a matter of obedience, you know, to your divine purpose, okay, to what you was asked of, what you were called to do by the Most High. You get what I'm saying? And so when you have people who try to distract you from who you're meant to be, all that you are, you know, your positive influence upon the world, upon others, okay, just because they draw up these smear campaigns and these false narratives to try and I guess, silence you, put out your light, okay, make you feel outnumbered or disempowered or not powerful enough because they may come up against you in numbers. At the end of the day, the reason why they're coming up against you in that manner is because you are powerful, is because what you're doing is effective in a positive manner, okay, and they don't resonate with that. They don't resonate with it. They can't resonate with it because they are too filled, immersed, and consumed by jealousy and envy, worthlessness. You get what I'm saying? They don't understand to, seek the kingdom of God. Seek the most high. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of seeking another individual who seeks the kingdom of God, who seeks the most high, who's in alignment with God's will, instead of seeking that person and trying to sift that person as weak, they should be seeking things about themselves and using God's light, okay, to identify things within themselves that are weaknesses, okay, that they need to give over to the divine. They need to do their necessary shadow work so that they can live a intentional, purpose life that's not, solely bred from attention seeking, clout chasing, okay? Like wanting to be needed, wanting to be viewed in a certain way opposed to being the thing. Something that the church that I used to go to when I was younger, it's called Greater Highway Church of Christ. And our Bishop R.F. Davis, something that he used to always say is be the thing. Don't just talk about it, learn how to talk about it. Like, in essence, he's saying be about it. Don't just talk about it. Don't just try to look the part, but be it. Do it. Be it. Embody it. Do you get what I'm saying? And you have people, who spend and invest, people who invest so much of their energy in trying to distort the perception of others on a person who literally embodies their divine essence. Okay? That's cool and all. You get what I'm saying? You spend your due diligence to do whatever you're guided to do to basically brush that energy off of you, whatever. Okay? Protect yourself. Guard your hearing. Guard your seeing. Guard your heart. Okay? However, do not forget, okay, what you are here to do. Do not neglect, okay, because sometimes the desires of your heart is not even just those things that you want to reap, that's just a part of peace and harmony and what will bring you true fulfillment and joy. But sometimes those desires of your heart are purposed field. It's like keys to your purpose of why you're here, okay? And there's this whole phenomena of just trying to distract us with heartbreak and betrayal and pain. And at the end of the day, like, if people walk away from you, if people abandon you, people neglect you, people switch up on you, at the end of the day, you still have the gold within you. You still have the gold. You still have the tools. You get what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. Give me 1 second. That is what it's about, okay? But I'm telling you, these people, they want you to fixate on them and what they're doing. They don't want you to fixate on studying how you can achieve being that midwife, how you can level up from a doula to a midwife. They don't want you to, spend as much time, attention, focus, and invest energy into like leveling up in your expertise. Okay, they don't want you to study things that will improve the health of other people, that will improve the health of yourself, that will improve the health of the land. They don't want you to spend all that time and attention doing that, everything that you are. Okay? The reason why you are even seen as a threat by these people is what you know. It's because of what you know. It's because of, how studied you are, how learned you are, how tapped in you are. Because you're not living a life that keeps your gifts, abilities, and your akasha dormant, but you're living your akasha. Your akasha is ever unfolding and unraveling, and they're trying to put an end to that. That's what they hate. Because to them, they just rather focus on pleasure. Pleasure seeking, temporary thrills, shallow victories, bullshit. Okay, they eat themselves to death. Okay, they fuck themselves to death. Just they party themselves to death. They gossip themselves to death. They plot and scheme themselves to death. They forfeit. They forfeit. They forfeit their opportunity to be chosen. They forfeit that. You get what I'm saying? So don't allow these people to try to trick you into forfeiting your position with God, because that's literally all it is at the core. That's what it is. Okay, and I feel like that's why so many of us are at this place where we've mastered understanding how these people operate. And something that I always say is that there is nothing unpredictable about satanic energy. It be the same old shit. When you really, it be the same old shit, different skin, but the same old dusty ass, raggedy ass, weak, basic level shit. Period. That's what it be. Okay? So just remember who you are, okay? Heavy emphasis on, your divine spirit team, the most high above all, your ancestors reminding you who you are, okay? So be grateful that you're not somebody that's easily moved or enchanted by lust. You're not easily moved or enchanted by food and um, inclusion and attention and blah 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 blah. Okay, or feeling the need to be praised and worshipped by others. The desire to be idolized. Like, that's how you know you are more close to God than you realize. So anybody else, you feel me, who rather prioritize these other things that are not like God, you know, is you can consider them an NPC. Maybe they'll wake up, maybe they won't. But at the end of the day, you feel me, like we got stuff to do. We got stuff to do, okay? Like, we not about to be out here being another parent, another mother, another father who doesn't have what it takes, for our children to rely and depend upon us. We not about to be that. You are hilarious. Hold on. You Scranger demon, you. Let's see. All right. So anyway, y'all, I'm telling you, like, don't it feel good? Don't it feel good to not be amongst the? Oh, ain't that something? Huh. But I pretty much got the message out. If I get any more messages, I would definitely come back and post again. Um, but yeah, you guys, like, the other day, there's this neighborhood called Jubilee, and it stood out to me, like, for whatever reason, like, it just was emphasized. And Jubilee talks about celebration, right? There's some type of like a victory going on here, like on your path, okay? Hmm. There's definitely this energy of hearts being weighed with this full moon in Leo, okay? Heart is being weighed, all right? Is your heart light as a feather, okay? Man. And when you think about a feather, think about how a feather ascends and floats, okay? And departs, okay? Mm. It shouldn't be difficult. It shouldn't be difficult. I'm telling you. And that's another thing too, why people, come so hard at you and deem you they deem you this energy that they just have to come up against so thoroughly and so frequently, because you don't fixate on things like they do. And the reason why they fixate on things much longer is because they're doing some type of evil. They're doing things that freeze them in guilt. Okay. They're doing things that freeze them in remorse or lack of repentance. Okay. These are people who are sowing harm unnecessarily and they're not mending the gap. They're not apologizing. Okay. They rather choose ego and pride, okay, than to mend their wrongs and right their wrongs, so at the end of the day, even though they may be wanting to stagnate you with those actions, um, they're stagnating themselves, like it's obvious, right? And a lot of times you'll have people abuse the silent treatment, omitting the truth or lying on you so boldly and stuff like that just to piss you off, agitate you, irritate you. It's because your heart is light as a feather. Okay, you can move forward, okay, because there's no guilt holding you back. Okay, you can continue ascending. You can continue focusing on what matters. You can continue growing, leveling up, okay, healing, or getting to a place of making healthier decisions, okay, being loving, reaping the reward from God. You get what I'm saying? While they're reaping, rewards from Satan, from their satanic actions, okay? That's what it's all about. It's real simple, right? Thank God for wisdom, okay? Thank God for understanding. Thank God for comprehension. Thank God for clarity. Thank God for discernment. I'm telling you, thank God for the spirit of gratitude. Thank God that you don't have to try to try to cut somebody else's feet off because you're worried about them surpassing you. Thank God that you're not built like that, right? Because I'm telling you, these people that are built like that, they get easily broken down. And they think that with their broken parts, they can throw their broken parts at you and possibly penetrate you and break you down with them. And it's not happening. It's not happening because the thing is, you're a whole mansion out here. You're a whole castle out here. You're a whole mountain, unmovable. So what are their little hills and, rocks and dirt piles going to do to a whole mountain? Mount Sinai in this mug. Like, I'm just saying though, like, let's really talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Of course, they have to look up at you because you're remaining steadfast in God, the creator, the grower, the planter. Period. We're talking about the creator of the Garden of Eden. We're talking about the creator of Earth. We're talking about the creator of the universe, all these planets. Period. That's who we're talking about. These people will try to create confusion and distortion and battles. Oh, God is a she, God is a he. Okay, and whatever. God is the creator. Okay? Period. And that's who I'm with. That's who I'm rocking with. That's who I'm rocking with. That's why y'all can team up and group up together and it's not stopping nothing. So collective. Again, this message was to just remind you that, okay, you've mastered understanding these people and how they operate. You've mastered understanding evil and how it operates and how it manifests. You've mastered that. Cool. Now it's time to spend more time focused on what you're meant to do. Even if that's just learning how to sew, learning how to, or learning more ways to improve your cooking, how to care for a home, men, build a home, putting yourself in position to be able to homeschool your children if necessary. You get what I'm saying? Instead of these people who birth these children, and then when things come up, like, oh, the school shuts down, oh, ISIS ICE is raiding the schools and stuff like that. And these people are described, they don't know what to do. I'm telling you, it's a lack of due diligence. And, no disrespect to anybody, but it's just a reality check. So again, don't let these people distract you from what you're creating for your legacy. You want to create a strong legacy. You want to be able to be proud about what you produce, about your fruits. You don't want your fruits to lack seeds and vitality. You don't want your fruits to just be, oh, it looks the part. It looks like a freaking grape, but it's not a real grape. You get what I'm saying? You don't want that. You don't want to produce something that produce, other things that are accursed or cursed. You don't want to leave a legacy like that. I'm telling you, that's not what you want to do. You want to create a legacy of self-sufficiency, self-sustainability, okay? Opposed to, this regurgitation of codependency. And a lot of times when you think about this codependency, people are normally codependent on things that are self-destructive, self-sabotaging, or they end up reproducing things or behaviors that are self-sabotaging, okay? Unnecessarily destructive. Okay, they lack the wisdom, they lack the knowledge, they lack the guidance, they lack the understanding intuition. Okay? We are not that. We are not going to be that. We're not going to be distracted out of that. Okay? That's no, we're not doing that. So they got whatever attention that they craved from you. Great. All right. You met that attention with the truth. Great. You were supposed to. Now get back in those books. Okay? If you master the skill, okay, master the next skill. Like the Sims. Okay, well, level up on your skills. Like, okay, you feel like you good at what you do, that's a part of your purpose. Well, get better. You can always improve. Some of you guys got books and shit. You still got books that you collected over years. You still ain't finished them books. Finish them books. Finish those projects. Some of you guys been dang, like I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to go to school for that. I kind of want to do this and add this to my do it. Redirect your attention. And again, whatever you're redirecting your attention toward or on, make sure it's something that God can that benefits God. You get what I'm saying? That benefits nature. That benefits your legacy. Okay? And leave the people who are just, senseless, leave them to these senseless activities. Let them have it. That's what they're here for, and they're going to ultimately destroy themselves anyway. Period. Period. Because they need life for anything to thrive. And if they're operating out of solely death, disease, how do you think that's going to manifest? It's going to be pathological. It's going to be a pandemic. Okay? They're going to cancel each other out. Period. All right, you guys. I'll see you